a lot of what I do is like someone else has already designed the garden.
Yeah.
And I used to do a lot of work with Carolyn Dawes and Virginia Kennett, and I used to inherit some of their gardens. So 5 years down the track, they've had the design done.
Yep.
I've never seen the design on paper, but 5 years down the track, they've said, "Hey, Craig, we had our garden done. It was awesome, or was, but now it's overgrown and getting out of control."
Yep.
So then I come in and I decipher that I have to look through the garden. It's overgrown. This is grown over that. This bit at the front is taller than the bit at the back. Whereas I have to say, you know what? Carolyn didn't design it like that, or David Baptiste didn't design it like that.
Because you have
he didn't design
idea.
the syzygiums to be as high as the magnolias. That's supposed to be a hedge down here with the magnolias popping out of it.
Because you know their style, or you just have a general sense for or it's a general style thing. Like you want levels and
So it's about re-establishing the levels and
without
thinking,
ringing him and going, "Hey."
And thinking, what were they trying to achieve here? Surely that's not what they wanted.
Yep.
It's just got out of balance. So that's did I answer your question?
Different. Like I like that's where it went, because I think that's important. I was more getting at, like, if you're a landscape designer and you never install or maintain gardens, does that blunt your tool from a design standpoint? Like, the fact that you're actually maintaining gardens and designing them, and it's a hard question to answer, because it's unfair on people that are high-end professional designers that aren't doing any work. So it's probably unfair for me to ask. But do you believe it helps you with your designs?
Yeah. So I think part of having the knowledge and actually working with the gardens means that I can design something realistic and probably safe as well, because I've had experience with what plants work where.
And when you say safe, you're not talking from a human not hurting themselves in the garden standpoint.
I mean safe as in you're not gonna have issues with this plant in 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
Because some designers, like we get inspiration from New South Wales and all, but completely different climates, and some plants don't work. But we want to try that plant.
We see that with turf spec sometimes, like turfs that don't even exist in South Australia because it's been designed. Well, I mean, there's some great landscape designers in New South Wales that are designing projects here now. A few high-end projects and Victoria as well. So there's different and look, most of these guys and girls, I only say guys because the two I know are men, are designing. They're smart enough about the local market that they're not designing in weird plants. But I understand that kind of potential risk. Yeah,
so I think I'd probably be out of my depth in New South Wales with plant choice to a certain extent, or I'll probably have more choice. But designing I can be a bit safer. I know the hills. I know the plains.
We've spent enough time.
We've got all these different. You've got the coastal environment. We've got all these different environments which, as you work in the gardens, you know what works where. And so therefore you can design your plants accordingly. So I find that's a bonus. There's got a lot of lists, a lot of plants on my do not plant list, which probably not on every designer's.
And they're in your head.
Yeah. Because I know they've got inherent problems. They get scale. They're going to get it. They're guaranteed. Don't plant it.
Do you use social media in your business much? Would you consider it one of your tools, or are you?
Instagram for my business has been quite good, and I found, as well as sort of being part of the Master Landscapers Association, Instagram, community, validation.
Like, it's a place for you to connect with other landscapers and landscape gardeners.
Yeah.
As well as a place to share your art. Yeah,
it's like people can see it. A lot of work you do is in people's backyards and no one ever sees it. So I guess it allows people to see what you do.
Have you had any issues sharing? Like, obviously, some people that can afford topiary are generally private people.
Yeah.
Do you have that conversation with the clients, or you kind of got a good emotional intelligence around what they're going to be comfortable with you sharing and whatnot?
Yeah, I try not to make it too noticeable as to
where you are.
The house. It's more about the plants than the house, or I try not to. I'm not like divulging suburbs too much.
Hey mate, I'm here at this. This is very Clint, but
everybody knows that property, so I try not to do that too much. But a lot of people I work for are private people. some of them are well known,
Yep.
you know, film producers and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, they're just another person to me with a private life and a garden, you know.
Yep. And it's not in your interest to go talking about it either. I think that's I guess an inexperienced mistake that people could make.
Yeah.
Is trying to leverage off of that to grow your business.
Yeah.
And it's completely the opposite.
Yeah. So, I do I wish I was a bit more tech savvy. And that's a struggling point I had with designing as well, because the SketchUps and the 3D modeling was a little bit... I just wanted to do it, but I could... You know, it's something I have to learn. It's like learning a music program, or it's something you have to put years into. And I'm a busy guy, you know. I'm doing the physical. I'm doing the everything. So you got to pick your battles, I guess.
I think you'd need to choose... If you were going to do it, you'd need to go all in. And... I mean, obviously we deal with a lot of designers, and one of our clients who did landscape architecture at uni said that they were always encouraged to hand draw first. Yeah, that's what they're taught, because you're at risk of, if you use a computer and you don't know how to do it, you won't do it.
Yeah.
Right. So that curve that you wanted won't go because you don't know how to do it on the computer. Whereas if you design it by hand first and then go work it out, you'll keep your curve in. So I think by designing by hand, the only risk you have is that it's just going to take you more time when you have to redo things for you personally. Yeah. And if you're comfortable with that and your clients are happy.
So I like to go a little bit more sketchy and try and get a little bit more, not that I'm a great artist, but on my initial concept, I probably put more colour in it and more try and represent it as best as I can, so I don't have to go any further than that.
Yep.
You know, so it's good enough to show someone.
Yep.
And they get the idea, and then I don't have to hopefully don't have to go through the next stages, which is where that's where I feel like I've started to work with other designers to help me out with that process, especially when we're talking, you know, designing a kindergarten, which might be coming up soon, or a big place in the hills, a sloping site, you know, in Mylor, which is coming up soon as well. That's where I will require, because, you know, the drawings will also be used for construction. You can't just sort of sketch that out.
So then you engage them as a third party, that you're the art. As much as they've got art capacity, they're more the science. So they're drawing the correct dimensions and that's what it's going to look like. Yep.
Yeah.
3D rendering, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
For this client?
Yeah.
It's amazing what it can do. We had it done for my place.
Yeah.
And you can look at it. It looks like, if you post it on Instagram, it looks like it's your backyard.
It's a photo. It's already grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, Jesus, when did you do that? I'm like, yes, that's right. We have a nice backyard. But when you look at it big, it's not. You're like, oh, that's a pixelated tree. But what's there now is...
And I wanted to do that. If you look at my my drawings, my 3D stuff for my final projects at TAFE and whatever, I made up my own blocky style in SketchUp, which was abstract. I like a bit of abstract, you know, surrealist automatism. But there was another guy in the class who was just all over that. You know, he was doing drone footage, flying through, you know, blending it all in seamlessly. It looked realistic. It was realistic, and you know, that guy's got a skill. So I'd use him to do that for me. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it though. Like all of the whole game of business, it's using people with the most appropriate skill for that job to do that job.
Yeah.
You know, I don't film. You know, like I don't do accounting. I hate it. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got obviously a skill set and a passion there.
Yeah.
And you then hire the people, the aces in their places, or whatever you want to call it, to do the other things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a strength.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess that's another thing about gardening, or gardeners, or landscape gardeners, is that you can't know and be good at every aspect of gardening. So we're a bit like we're like doctors. We specialise, yeah. You have to have a good broad general knowledge, but then you know, the one doctor's not, here's the skin guy, and the other one's the heart guy.
Yep.
So I like to think that there are other gardeners who I could call on to do stuff, you know,
whether it be like a relocation specialist or a disease specialist or someone
I can, you know, the tree tree guy, to prune it properly, to get some shape into it, or for health, or, there's certain arborists you'd use to, you get your guy who's really good at removing a tree, stump grinding it, and does it neatly and doesn't leave any mess. You've got your guy who can shape a tree. You've got your guy who will take care of its health.
You don't think about tree shape. I don't think about tree shaping. Like,
it's all I see now, though.
You think trees are established? Like, look, trees.
I was really upset. I was in Kangaroo Island a while ago, and we were driving down to Western River Cove, one of my favourite places in the world, and I had to stop. I stopped in the middle of the road like a stupid tourist and took a photo of this tree that to me looked like a massive bonsai. It's a native, and it had twists and turns, and little known to me, it just got burnt in the last fires, and it was actually an icon for the local residents. It's like a favourite tree,
and you can't make that again.
No, but 30. When I was 30 years or however many years ago, I wasn't driving around looking at trees like that. So I guess that shows you where I am now, and the different way I'm looking at landscapes and the world in general, I guess.